program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome everyone to this fantastic sunset safari on a wonderful Sunday afternoon. We are spending some time with some very gorgeous butterflies. It's so nice and warm that they've all decided to come out and say hello. We've got all sorts of different species and they're all very happy to say hello. This is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Look at this gorgeous setting that we've got today. We have come down one of the famous drainage lines that the leopards enjoy, and over here, just because there seems to be a bit more water, there's a lot of life fluttering around. Lots of tiny little butterflies. I can count or see different species. There seems to be a monarch every now and again, maybe a diadem flying around, different species of acreas all over the plants that we see around here. Also, there goes a little acrea fluttering around, and also some guinea fowl butterflies of a more brownish color with pretty white polka dots. I think they're all just enjoying the fact that it's very nice. The grass here is tall, they can find lots of food, and why not, they can also socialize for a little while. Isn't that a pretty way to start our drive? I'm sure Brent Leo Smith all the way in the Mara would be very happy to know that all his butterfly friends are still around here. So maybe we should actually take a lot of screenshots and send them to him so that he doesn't feel like the butterflies have forgotten all about him. I'm sure they wouldn't, because they know he loves them the most. Pretty little things flying around. Right, we are off onto our safari. 3 days of very live entertainment. Hopefully we'll see some of the creatures that escaped this morning from us. But in the meantime, why don't we just carry on? We'll leave these butterflies here. My name is Ali, and on camera with me today I've got Seb, and we are gonna go back to an area where there was a certain girl that was proving to be a bit elusive this morning. So let's see if we get a bit luckier. Hopefully we will. But onwards and forwards we go, as they say. See if maybe we can find her again this afternoon. I think we've started all right. Lots of pretty spots. Actually, we were looking for spots. A lot of these butterflies have got spots. So I think maybe we should just turn around and go back. While we are out on safari, you are more than welcome to send any questions or comments through using the hashtag SafariLive, and we will be very happy to get to all of your comments and questions, or as many of them as we can. See what's around this road. Maybe more spots, maybe more stripes. Who knows? The day is young. I think the temperature today is quite high. I think it's about maybe 26 degrees, so quite a change from this morning. This morning was about 16, so crazy to see that just in a few hours we've gone 10 degrees more, which, you know, I'm not complaining about. I'm sure you guys remembered me all this morning and said freezing, wearing maybe 2 pairs of gloves, 5 scarves, 8 sweaters, 10 pairs of socks. Why not? We will go, carry on. If, you know, good old Rusty decides to carry on with us. But in the meantime, let's go over to Tayla, who's very eager to say hello to all of you.
And I greet you with a great gift of a lioness track in the sand. There we go. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tayla, and on camera with me today is the great Senzo, and he is back from Johannesburg to join us again for just a week, which is exciting, before he heads all the way to Kenya. Now, of course, this is a live and interactive safari. If you have just joined us, you've already met Ali and Sebastian, and who knows, maybe Brent a little bit later in Kenya. But hashtag Safari Live on Twitter with all of your questions. Now, this is quite amazing. I'm actually quite excited as to what's actually gone on here. I'm going to jump out the car now. And the reason why is because it's not just one lioness. I just want to confirm my suspicions before, unless I slide over. So, first set of come out over here. So from somewhere in here, I was walking around, and then she came, and she's left this beautiful footprint on the ground. Now, the reason why it is not a male track, because a lioness track is a lot longer than it is the width, whereas a male lion track is as wide as it is the length. So it's quite easy. So it'd be a lot more sort of broad. But these are very fresh. These are over this morning's game drive track. Now, this one's a bit hard to see. You can see here's a very fresh track. But I won't be able to show it because it's quite close to the car. But this second set of tracks, the left-hand side tires got the fresh lion tracks straight over the top of them. But there was more than one. The two lionesses walking here, because there's another set of tracks just over here. You can see it very faintly, not the hyena track, but there's actually a line moving through here too. Now we need to go and find these girls, and where they've gone, they're going in that direction. So I think what we're going to do, I think we need to at some point go and check Galago Pan. I don't know if anybody checked around there. So that's going to be the idea. But let's carry on with Galago Shortcut. Then we'll come down along Aubrey's. Just have a quick look there, because I also saw some giraffe footprints heading on down that side. So we might bump into a big male giraffe at some point too. So hopefully we're going to have a lucky drive, a third lucky drive. Whether I'm pushing it and asking for too much, I'm not too sure. But also, there's lots of elephant tracks around here. I'm just going to very quickly check to see if there are any more lion tracks coming around here. Yes, there are. So there's a whole lot of lion tracks coming on either side of the road, coming back down towards us. I'm changing my mind. I'm turning around. Now, Secret, you're wondering if it's dangerous for us as guides to get out of the car. Well, yes and no. If you're careful and you check before you do get out, then you're fine, of course. It's not a worry. An animal's not going to go, ha, human, and then start chasing after you. So don't worry about that. But thank you for your concern, though. However, I have done it before, which was very silly, where we were tracking lions, and we had seen so many tracks. Basically, we've done this huge run around like you often see us doing, chasing after cats, so it happens often. And the next minute, we get out the car because we see a drag mark on the floor, and myself and another vehicle, and I've told this story before. We get out, we have a look, and we're like, these lions must be right here, and we're certain. And the next minute, I look down to the right, and underneath the guarri tree, about 2 meters from my tracker, so about 6 foot, there was this female lioness with a buffalo calf right next to us. How crazy is that? So we leapt into the vehicle like you have no idea. We didn't even touch the ground. We all should be basketball players with the way that we could leap. And into the car. She got a fright. She actually just moved back a little bit, but not far. And then she was fine once we got into the vehicle. But we got very, very lucky there, because that wouldn't have been unfair on the lion to attack us, because we were so close to her and so close to her food that it would have been normal for her to protect us. Someone was watching over us and nothing happened to us, and I always make sure that I look 360 degrees before I step out of a car. And you won't see us really getting out too often at night either. Now, Ellies arrived at a watering hole, and she said to me today she was going to tie herself to a tree and wait for the leopards to come and get her. So I wonder if she started winding her rope.
Well, I did try, however, I didn't think it was the best idea to try and tie myself up to a tree until Tandy came around just to say hello to me. So, a bit of a dangerous idea. We decided against it, and we instead decided to have a look at this beautiful blacksmith plover. He's just busy cleaning himself. He was when we arrived inside of the water. And he was just trying to clean himself, just as the way it is now. He was just busy, you know, moving his little tail in the water. And now I think he is trying to make sure all of... look at that. Yep. That all of the fluff is gone, that the feathers are nice and tidy, and that he's just looking pretty. This is a very common species of bird that we get around this area, and it is quite funny. I don't think I've ever seen any waterhole in southern Africa and in all the different countries. If you go to Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and even the very wet areas of the Caprivi Strip in Namibia, you will always find a blacksmith plover. It is quite endearing because at least you know you'll see somebody. Look at how they move around. Aren't they funny? Very similar almost to the way a hornbill starts jumping around. Seems, however, that they are not concerned by too much around here. It's quite a placid afternoon. We had a few different birds around. Oh, is it feeding time now? Moving around, you see very long legs, perfect just to make its way around the shore and going a bit deeper into it where it might find small fish, little tadpoles, small insects, just to be able to eat. It's almost like wearing very long boots that will prevent it from getting stuck in the bottom part of the mud. I think he is eyeing a butterfly somewhere around here, but it seems that it's gone, it's flown off. Okie dokie, let's maybe carry on, see if we can see something nice all the way around the other side of the dam. I see lots of little birds around here, maybe some that we can just use to tick off the list. We saw a very beautiful cinnamon-breasted bunting yesterday, but unfortunately it just flew off right as we were trying to show you guys, because, well, birds always have to make it a bit harder for everyone. But we'll see. I have a very good feeling about this afternoon. And if not, then again, we saw butterflies. I did ask for spots, and some of the butterflies have spots, so maybe that is a very weird sense of humor from the universe all the way to us. But we will take it. We don't mind. Alright, let's just go around. Wonder what it is around here. I see a drongo drinking some water too. I think it's actually trying to have a bath. Let's just wait here for a few minutes. There seems to be a whole colony of them. Whole flock of them, rather. On the dead knobthorn. We can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, there we go. Back into the water. I think... Somebody's definitely having fun. You see, we always say that the elephants and buffaloes and rhino and bigger creatures come onto the water when they're hot, but now we have proof, definite proof, that birds also get very hot, and when they do, apparently the best thing is to come to a dam and also just start going in and out. I think the ones that are there, you can see, yep, fluffing all the water away. I think maybe they've managed to cool themselves down. Like we said, it's quite a warm afternoon. Sorry, I just love when they start moving, wiggling their little tails like that. They look very funny, and they always remind me of chickens. I can't help it. I think all of them that are there, they've been taking turns into diving into the water. Clearly, not too many crocs around to be worried. So they've just been going up and down, and then they go back onto the knobthorn and they start waiting there again, and then go back into the water, and then they dry themselves up and come all the way up. These are some of my favorite birds in the bush just because they're so cheeky. You will always find them chasing eagles around, making sure that other animals move around, and, well, of course, one of their main characteristics is that they have the ability to imitate other birds and alarm calls of other creatures. So a lot of the times what they do is they actually make everyone believe that there's something coming, while in the meantime all they're trying to do is scare everyone away because they want to eat the insect that whoever it was spotted and was busy eating. I think there's a very good documentary that shows how they use the meerkats in the Kalahari. So you'll see the Drongo just on top of the mounds, and then all of the meerkats are down eating, and then the Drongo very sneakily imitates the alarm call for one of the sentinels, one of the meerkats, and boom, all the meerkats go away, and the Drongo comes down and bites the scorpion that the meerkats were busy eating. And I've seen them do it a few times here, maybe not with something as big as a scorpion, but sometimes with hornbills and grasshoppers and little things. So definitely one of the fascinating birds, just because I think they're so clever. I mean, imagine they're able to fool everyone around them and just be like, haha, there's a leopard, and then they go, woof, mine, all mine. Let's see. Again, there's another terrapin, or a few of them, that do look like crocodiles. Let's see if we manage to see this terrapins around here. I think they always confuse me. I am always waiting to see crocodiles or hoping to see crocodiles, and the way that they sometimes look, it's almost like they are little tiny things, but they're not. They are, is that a blue waxbill? Hello. How old are you? I reckon quite old. I think they are a few tiny little birds over there. I do think it's a, yes, it's a blue waxbill. Look at them, look at that pretty blue color. And you see they're just on the muddy side of the water. They won't venture too far in. And it's quite interesting of how different species of birds actually do come and drink. We'll have animal or birds like the drongos and the plovers and smaller things like the waxbills. They'll go down and then, you know, they'll just go onto the shore or the edge of the water, and then they'll start drinking from them. And then some other times we'll have other animals like other birds like the swifts or the what's the name of this other animal? Very similar to a swift? Swallows, yes, that drink while they fly. Jennifer, can birds die from the heat? Yes, a lot of animals, if not all of them, can die from heat. So what they've done is they've developed all sorts of different strategies to try and avoid getting overheated. So some of the animals like the drongos are busy cooling themselves down, or like the plovers, they'll go into the water will make them feel slightly cooler, and then they'll come out, dry out, and maybe do it again if they're feeling very hot. But another very common thing that birds do is called gular flapping, which is a very, fancy term for just saying that they'll open their mouth, and sometimes some of them you'll see them even sort of expanding their throat, and what they're doing is trying to dissipate some of the heat. Some of the blood that goes around there will cool down because there's a lot more air going through, and it will just cool the blood, and then as the blood carries on flowing through the rest of the body, then it will cool the animal down. But nowadays, not too bad, because the heat will be maybe about 26, at most 30 degrees. That's about maybe 60s, 70s Fahrenheit. So it's not too bad for them. So at this time, I think it's a bit more worrying for them just to be able to find water rather than dying of heat. But during the summertime, yes, a lot of the animals, you'll see even the birds, they'll open their wings, and they'll just, be sitting where there's a bit of a breeze trying to cool themselves down. That's why also you'll see the mammals, like the lions and the leopards, underneath the shade of the tree, just because the heat is real, and all of the animals are then at risk of potentially dying. I think there are lots of little birds around here. I see a bee eater has joined the party now. A little bee eater. Wow. I think this is a petilia. Let's see, because I haven't seen one of these ones in quite a while, but I'm pretty convinced it's one of them. Let's just go quickly check on the bird book. I think there are way too many birds for me to remember. I am very impressed by people who are just able to identify them as they go. Unfortunately, I don't have that gift. I am working on it. Yes, the green-winged petilia. That is the one that it was. Oh, that's a nice one to take out. It's a very pretty bird. So if you see it around here, I believe this is what we were looking at. I just managed to catch a bit of a glimpse, but I saw all of this red around here, and then the back here, and then all of the little spots. All of those black stripes in the body. I'm pretty sure this is what we were looking at. Very pretty little thing. That was a good find. Thanks, Seb. I haven't seen it for quite a long time, so hopefully it'll be a tick for some of you on your bird list. We're going to go in that direction because I feel that's the direction we should go into, but in the meantime, let's go to Tayla and see how her search is going.
No big cats for you just yet, but I'm hoping that we're going to get there eventually. I'm on Aubrey's Road at the moment, so just bumbling about over here, checking to see if there are any tracks, and I'm also scanning very carefully through all of this long golden grass to see if I can find us a golden cat. Now, there wasn't anything coming over on Vuyatela access, but unfortunately, again, that is quite a busy road, and it's very difficult to monitor how many cars have come in and out and along that road. Hello, can we have a look at that little hornbill? And don't you fly away. Don't fly. You just stay there. our beautiful yellow-billed hornbill. But its partner has just landed up ahead, so I wouldn't be surprised if it just takes off in a moment. But I think if we don't have any tracks coming onto Aubrey's Road, then I think these lions are in this block somewhere. They must just be resting, keeping out of the heat. So we'll see if I get an opportunity to jump in on foot and go and walk. Otherwise, oh my goodness, otherwise I'm going to have to ask Herbie very nicely to come here. Senzo, have you got your seatbelt on? Elephants at the dam cam. Let's go. Right, we'll come back for these lions. Even if we do find them now, it's not like they're going to be doing very much. It's been a very, very hot day. It wasn't a very cold morning like we have experienced. So we can come back here. We'll give them a chance. We'll give them an opportunity to rest. But let's go find these elephants and see if they're going to swim around. We'll try and catch them before they disappear. Thank you, Alice, for that update. That was lovely. You've just made my day. Now, we just need to see if we can get there in time, of course. We're not going very fast. We're not racing after shadow like I did this morning. I can't believe that we got there so quickly. But it was great because she was still walking down the road. Literally, if we had stopped or we'd driven maybe it took us 2 or 3 minutes longer to get there, we wouldn't have seen Shadow at all, because she would have been off the road and into that thick block. And you all saw how interesting my off-roading technique was this morning. Now I wonder, there was some very fresh elephant tracks coming down Aubrey's Road, and then they crossed over and went down an animal pathway. I wonder if it's not the same elephants just doing a big loop and eventually looping around towards the dam. We're not particularly far away, but it will take us a little bit of time. I'm terrible. I always say, you know what I should do? I should just start the drive and not have a plan and just go for it and see where everything takes me, because every time I plan and I'm saying, right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go up that road and then I'm going to come down this one and loop around here, I never do it. Never once in my life have I actually completed a route that I said I was going to drive in. So I think tomorrow morning I'm not just going to drive. I'm going to go out and I'm going to follow my gut, and hopefully that will find us some animals too. But let's go get those Ellies, and then we can cross the first animal off of the list, like I said, that I wanted to see. We're going to focus on the larger herbivores, and then maybe a little bit later we'll get lucky with some cats. Senzo, I can't believe how smart you look. Not that you didn't look smart before, but you just look very trendy. You can see he's a city boy. The city boy in the bush, but he loves the bush. And he also rocks the khaki colors. I can't wait if we one day do a fashion show so that we can just show you Senzo's how trendy he actually is. You know, Eggsy was always very trendy, and Camp always wearing the latest hipster fashion, but I feel as though Senzo has taken the lead. We'll have to tell him, we'll have to tell Eggsy that. Eggsy's Zander, in case you're wondering. Nobody even calls him Zander anymore. And he is one of our editors. So he puts a lot of the video footage that you see, all those beautiful clips, he puts them all together. And Senzo takes all the beautiful video footage that you get to see. Okay, we're almost there, we're not far. We're just going to go past the DRC. Woo! I'm just going over all these bumps. I'm really glad they graded the roads, so I don't have to hit the brakes too much. Oh! Don't tell me these things, Alice. Alice has said the elephants have moved onto the dam wall. Bye, DRC. So that's a bit sneaky. Oh, Senzo, our aerial has fallen down. It's bounced out of its octopus clip. That's the stretchy clip that we use to keep it up. Okay, I'll go slowly here so Senzo can tighten the aerial again. I won't be driving like speed racer. I think I need to do some of what is his name now? Ron Burgundy's little voice warm-ups that he used to do. Unique New York. Unique, you know. Okay, I'm going to stop being silly now. We're just going to quickly tighten the cable, and hopefully the next time you see us, I'll be surrounded by the large pachyderm. That is the elephants, but I'm going to send you back on board to Ali, and I know she was also looking for some elephants.
Yes, I am always looking for elephants. I think after seeing them for so many days in a row, I'm definitely missing them. So we did see the one that was pretty much doing a bit of a tango with a pipe, and that was quite spectacular and quite unique. So who knows, maybe we'll see another one today. In the meantime, there's a very pretty colorful bird that's hiding in between the branches of the tree over there that I would like to share with all of you guys. I think he's just being a bit shy. I think it's more to your right, like here somewhere. Sorry, his camouflage is just playing against us right now. I promise you I can see it. Where's, okay, this branch here. The challenges of bird spotting. Oh, there it goes.
Sorry about that.
Well, he doesn't want to be too friendly. I think there's another roller alarming. So if you guys know any of our birds, we were looking at a lilac-breasted roller. One of the prettiest birds around. However, they don't seem to be too friendly. They're actually quite territorial little creatures. And I think this one, so the one that we were looking at is this one over here. Very stunning colors. You see all this pretty blue, and then, well, obviously there's the lilac here in the chest, and that's where it gets the name from. So I hear there's another roller not too far from here, so I wonder if maybe they're just busy having a bit of a standoff, a territorial standoff, because they're quite territorial little creatures, always, you know, sitting under the sun, looking everything, surveying their kingdom, making sure there's not a roller coming in. So we'll see. Maybe we'll be able to find the other competitor around the corner. And I think maybe, in the meantime, we have spotted a very, 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 very talented person that I'm sure you all will be very happy to say hello to. Hello, Herbie. How are you?
Good, good.
Have you had any luck?
No, not luck yet.
It's a horrible block, isn't it?
Yeah. The last tracks I heard of here were moving south.
South?
Yeah, on the southern bank.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere opposite to this Scotia.
Okay. Because there was, so when Mike had her this morning, she was coming this way. So he said he carried on seeing her going northwest. So I don't know if she went, but I didn't see anything at Treehouse Dam.
Yeah, I did check that side.
Nothing.
You might find that she's out already.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe Twin Dams will be the lucky spot later on.
Yeah. Or further south of the drainage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll carry on around here because I'm sure, because I've had tracks for her the past 2 days, so I'm sure she's not too far. But oh well.
I'll just do one more look.
Okay, cool. We're gonna carry on down here and see. Alright.
Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Herbie, for all your help. I'm sure everyone misses you and all the bushwalks. Alright. Okie dokie. Right, so that is Herbie over there. He is helping us see if maybe we can find these two elusive leopards, but it seems like they...
Welcome to a wonderful, windy and wild Masai Mara. And we are here. I'm not sure why FC is shouting, but they are shouting. But we're all live from Kenya, and some spectacular news is that the migration has arrived. It has arrived much earlier than everyone expected. Unfortunately, the main section of the migration is quite far from here, and we don't have signal at the moment. But these are the forerunners. We're only about 6.5 kilometers from Talek Gate. My name is Brent Smith. I forgot to say I've got Dangerous Dave Eastor, Jamie keeping us company down below, and this is the first of the migration here. You can just see a few zebras. Now you think, oh, 1 or 2 zebras, what nonsense is Brent talking? The migration has arrived. And if we go off into the distance, and Dave's going to show you now, the wind is really howling at the moment, but look at that. So the zebras are quite often the forerunners because they keep the grass nice and short. They don't mind long grass, and then the wildebeest come in beyond them. Now You can just see that hill is littered with zebras. Where's that large? Now you can't really see it, they're too far, but beyond those zebras, that hill that's in the light, the wildebeest are just on the other side of that rise, and they are coming in thick and fast. Remember, all questions to hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. But there we go, you can see a little bit, and this is right at the head of, there's some wildebeest there to the right. There are a few wildebeest in this interspersed amongst the zebra, but there are definitely more zebra with the forerunners up ahead here. Oh, actually, I'm being so silly. There's some wildebeest right next to me. Over there, Dave. Right next to us. There's some wildebeest. You can see that distinct white beard, which makes them a little bit different from our wildebeest back on Djuma. And you can see there's still zebra everywhere, spread all around. And I know a lot of people have been asking for eland, but well, look at that wind, the beard blowing in the wind there. It's quite fetching. Looks like it's like Eggsy when he's out in the wind. Eggsy, oh, and you can see the rain that's around us. So we've actually even put the roofs on today. We've taken the camera off twice. We're hoping we're going to be able to stay out, but there is a lot of rain around. There, those nice big bull eland. So I apologize, the wind is really strong, so I am battling to hear, but I think it's Edward who's asking, why do zebras have stripes? Well, there's a whole bunch of different conflicting arguments in certain cases about why a zebra has stripes. Some people think it is for camouflage, and you think camouflage, what nonsense is Brent talking yet again? But remember, most of the predators see in various shades of grey, and I still think they see a bit of colour. But also, when there's a massive herd of zebras and a lion tries to grab one, all of them running together can create some confusion. I think that's probably the main reason they've adapted those stripes. There's some wildebeest just arriving over that hill. So as I say, it's really windy here. We're completely surrounded by rainstorms. But there we go, there's some wildebeest and zebra just arriving. Okay, sorry Final Control, you're going to have to say that again. I am really struggling to hear you. Okay, so and we made the big mission to come all the way out here to find the migration, and find the migration we did, and we're going to keep moving because we're a really long way from home and we don't want to be naughty and in the park after park times. So while we move on, let's go across to Tayla to see what she's found in South Africa.
The only thing that I found so far in South Africa, Brent, is dust, a sunburn, and some plants, I reckon. That's about it for now, and then many tracks of animals that I can't seem to find. Now, I'm probably wondering, Tayla, where on earth are you? You said you were going to find the elephants at the dam cam. Well, I went past the dam and I could not see one elephant there, nowhere to be seen. So I couldn't go across the dam wall because it looked like there were still guests in camp. So we've gone the scenic way around. We're just on Vulture's Nest. We're popping up right now on to Central, and then we'll go back towards the dam from this side round, so we don't disturb the guests who are having lunch and not quite ready to go on safari just yet. And then I'm not sure where those elephants went, if they've gone to feed in the drainage line, which I hope that they haven't, because it's almost impossible to get down there. And then that means that my route has to change yet again. So we'll see. Maybe they'll be kind enough. There's definitely elephants walking along this road over the last few days. I'm sure you can see all the dung that is scattered about. But we won't stop and have a look at it. We'll just keep going to get straight towards where those ghost elephants were last seen, I suppose. Ooh, over those little bumps. Now, Canis Canada, good afternoon. You're wondering how far can the animals travel in a day? Well, that depends on the animal, and also if they're territorial, do they have home ranges, what the situation is like in terms of how much food and water is available. So it's actually not a very simple question to answer. You could probably end up going on and on and on for about 3 days about this, but we'll use a couple of examples. So for instance, if you're something like a dwarf mongoose, you don't travel very far at all because you are resting at night. So they're diurnal animals. They have to go into a little hidey hole and during night time, and that hidey hole is normally of a termite mound. So they normally just forage around their termite mound, and say within, you know, maybe a kilometer radius, just shy of a mile around that hole, they'll move around there, but they won't go any further than that. Whereas something like an elephant, for example, can travel easily in one day over 50 kilometers. Very, very easily too. Hang on, here's the elephant tracks. I wonder if it's the same herd. And then, like Brent is looking for, he's looking for the start of the migration, where the front of the herd is, leading everybody through the crossings. They will travel even further and further than that in one day. And again, they're just chasing after green grass and fresh water. So depending on what those animals do. Look at this morning, Canis Canada. I don't know if you watched this morning's show, but we had Shadow, and elephants. She had travelled so far with a scrub hare in her mouth to take it to her little cub. So that was quite exciting to see, and she walked quite a distance really, with only taking 1 or 2 little breathers. Hi, elephant. Where are your friends? Because I know that you didn't make all of these footprints on your own. Hello, girl. Hi, beautiful princess. She's a lovely girl. She's not a particularly big elephant either, but she doesn't look very young. And I can hear some rustling just behind her, so I suspect that there's a couple of little ones tailing just off to the back. Hello, big girl, but now she's going to feed on a bush willow. Now, you often hear us talking about, no, I lie, you always hear us talking about bush willows, and that's because they're one of the most common tree components out here. We've got many, many different types of bush willows, and it is a favorite food of various animals. For instance, the elephants love to eat their leaves. They'll even strip the bark and push the tree over completely, and then eat the roots. Senzo, look at this little one coming towards us. Oh my goodness, we're being charged. I'm very scared, everybody. I'm panicking. I don't know what to do in this situation. No, I'm just joking. This is a very cute little elephant, and I suspect that it is the calf of the female we've just seen. And yes, of course you're acting big and brave now, because Mom is just standing off to the side. Aren't you? No, it's got a bit of cover. It's hiding behind that buffalo thorn and the little shrubs that go with it. And I'm not going to move, because I wonder if this little fella is not going to come up and investigate around the vehicle. And I would very much love if this little elephant would come over and say hello. So we're getting more and more. There's 4 elephants here now. We've got those ones over there, and then the little baby is somewhere over there. And then you can see something moving just off to the left. That's another elephant. So these must be the ghost elephants of Djuma Dam that disappeared right before my eyes, but have reappeared on Central. And that's fine. I'm just happy that we've managed to get them. And just the tips of their trunks are wet. So they haven't had a mud bath just yet. Oh, that little elephant is coming. Look, it's coming. Look here, it's just behind. It's coming closer. Yes, little one, I can see you. Are you going to come and play? I will happily play with you. As long as you don't get me into trouble by Mom, I'm fine with that. We can play all you like. Look at it, it is so funny. Just going closer towards this little sibling, just to make sure. But again, only acting big and brave and strong like this. Look at it. Yes, just because it's got a lot of family support here. So if it does feel as though we get a bit rowdy and fight back or give it a fright, it is going to turn and tuck its tail and run away to one of its older siblings, probably trumpeting, making a loud noise. And then Mom is going to come over to my car and say, "What did you do to my little one?" Right, should we go back, Central? And I reverse for you. And then we watch them again come past us. Now, I did see some more elephant tracks behind us, so I think this is the end of the herd. Hello, little one. Yes, I'm watching you. Oh, you're getting very brave. Now, as we watch this little elephant try and act all big and strong, George, you're wondering why they're eating the bushes and not the grass. Again, that's a good question, because most of the time, especially while there is grass around, and it does make up the bulk of an elephant's diet. Yes. No, but come out so we can see. I'm going to roll forward, Senzo. No, it's too scared. It's running away. I thought it was going to maybe it's going to turn and come again. It's just behind the trees, as you can see. So they will carry on eating grass, but it's not as sweet and delicious as what it was a couple of weeks ago. It's become quite yellow now. So they are going to start feeding on different things. And George, perhaps the grasses just don't have the nutrients in them that maybe some of the leaves have in them now. I'll reposition again. We'll just keep doing this. We'll just keep reversing. Mom doesn't mind. This little one's having fun. I'm having fun. I'm going to go a little bit further back so we can watch it for longer. Look at it. It is a funny little character, this thing. It is so precious. And what will happen is over the next sort of month or two, we'll watch the grass completely disappear. It's going to become so short. And then we're going to see them pushing. Watch. I'm going to go forward. Stay like that. This one is practicing. I was just about to say they're going to start pushing over trees. And that's exactly what that elephant did. It was a little dead, probably a part of a bush willow, maybe even a silver cluster leaf that the elephants had already taken down some time before. And perhaps the termites got hold of it too and hollowed it out. Because for an elephant that's probably not even quite 6 months old just yet, it pushed that little stump over very, very easily. And that's what a big elephant will do. Though they won't go and push over a dead tree. They'll rather push over one that's alive. Right, no, you're running back to Mum, are we? Yes, little baby, you're scared now. Now, Ian, you're wondering if that little elephant is most likely a young bull. To be honest, I haven't actually even had a chance to look at it. It looks very male-like. It's got quite a round head. So I would suspect that it is a little boy, but we'll confirm. We'll see if it's got little baby boy elephant bits. We'll see. No, don't go that way. Don't go further and further into the thicket, please, elephants. Pretty please, with sugar on top. Or marulas on top, because I suppose you like it. Oh, they're disappearing out of view now. I wonder where the rest of the herd is. They're still being watched, though, by that tiny little elephant. You can just see, there we go, just in the middle of the screen. They're watching. And as, of course, we get further away from this little elephant, it is going to lose interest in us. But we'll see how long we can keep a view of them. Now we're just watching Mom's ear flap about. And she's not flapping it because she's angry with us. There's probably a lot of flies about, so she'll be using them to swat the insects. And then, of course, as most of you know, but just again for the new viewers, that's how they keep themselves cool. One of the very many ways that they keep themselves cool. And it would bring a big smile to my face if we could watch elephants cool themselves in a different manner by throwing mud all over their bodies. I'd really like to see that this afternoon. I think I'm going to try and go around, maybe go up Inyala Road North to see if the rest of the herd hasn't already crossed onto the road. However, Ellie has got another herbivore, and this one has also got big ears.
I think maybe this one has got the biggest ear of them all. Well, obviously, besides the elephant, we've got a youngster Kudu running away from us. I think it's just because it got a fright, because the rest of the herd or its mom was on that side of the road, but then we've got the rest of them going as well. There's one left. There we go. Quite impressive the way they run. Now, I'm sure you all noticed as they were running away, I'm going to try going slightly forward, see if maybe we can get another look of them just through the bushes over here. I'm sure you all noticed that as it started running away, it puts the tail up like this and you could see all the white. So all the white over there, and the way that they put it up for has a dual purpose. So I think this is a bit of a tough spot because we can't really see them because they've been moving around. Let me try going forward again. But like I was saying, so the white part has a dual function is a follow me sign for the rest of the herd members, so they'll know which of wherever the other ones have gone off to. But it's also, imagine if they're being chased by a predator, a potential animal that could be dangerous to them, that only sees in shades of, you know, black, white and gray. So as they start running away, there you have these beacon that you're looking at, and you know exactly where the animal is going. But a lot of the times you'll see, like this one's did over here, kudus start running and then they put their tail down and then they freeze. So it's almost as to confuse whoever it is that's trying to chase them, because I can see you, and then all of a sudden they stop and you can't see them. Luckily this ones, they seem to be quite happy with us being on the other side of the road. Maybe the answer to why the kudu crossed the road was just to, you know, get away from Ellie. And just maybe the plants are greener on the other side. Who knows? We can go on and on and on endlessly like this. Why do you guys think the kudu crossed the road? We'd love to hear from you, so you can use the hashtag #SafariLive, and let's see who can come up with a very creative explanation as to why they crossed. I think for the time being, she's just busy enjoying all the leaves. They don't seem to be too moist. I think now is the time of the year where everyone's going to start eating a lot of dust. There's a lot of dust will be on the leaves. We'll see the elephants shaking the grass a lot more than what they normally do. And it's all just, well, number one, to prevent the wearing down of the teeth, but also just to make sure that they don't just eat dust. So a few days ago, we were actually talking about some of the animals eating dirt or the soil. So sometimes it's good for them. Sometimes, you know, they'll get some minerals this way. But again, I don't think it tastes nice. Imagine if you were eating sand or something quite grainy. I think it's the same for the animals. They don't particularly like it. Hello. Now imagine if you were just to see everything in black and white. Even the stripes of the kudu could appear like the light or the grass that is on the background. So I don't think that it would be easier for any sort of leopard or lion to find it. I do think that your belly looks a bit too big. I can't see if maybe there's a potential, you know, smaller kudu inside of this one. Or maybe it's just the shade and the light, but who knows? Could be. I think it would be quite unusual, as they only start going into their mating season now, so maybe she's just managed to build up some very good reserves and terrapins in terms of the all of the goodies that she's been eating. We're gonna leave these beautiful girls on the other side of the road, and we should try. Davy, I don't know if these guys would be the equivalent to your American deer. I'm not too sure how big the American deer get. So if you want to let me know using the hashtag #SafariLive, then maybe we can have a bit more of a comparison. But I think the equivalent to the American deer perhaps is the impala, just because they're shorter. So an impala is about, a fully grown male, about maybe 80 kilograms. These guys can weigh, a fully grown male, up to 300 kilograms. So maybe somewhere in between, because I know, I have a feeling maybe it's something in between the kudu and the impala, because I believe some of the species that you get over there are quite big, but I'm not 100% sure. So it'll be interesting to compare and see which one is actually bigger. I'm not too sure. That would be. Rashni, you say the kudu crossed the road because they don't like the catwalk? Is that what is that correct, Alice? Well, that is a good way of seeing it. Why not? I certainly preferred this one to than, you know, the kudu crossed the road to, because the leaves are greener on the other side. The kudu crossed the road because there's a leopard on this side. I don't know. Many options, but I think now they're just getting used to the sound of my voice. Hello, how are you doing? It's good to see you. I like your ears. I think that was pretty much just like, oh, I don't really care, I'm gonna carry on eating. Dale, yes, kudus are some of the antelopes that have a season where they start breeding, and that season is roughly starting now. So the males will do all of the fighting and the mating during the winter months, which we're slowly starting to head into, and then the females will have their babies at the beginning or during the rainy season, where there's a lot more grass for them. So it's all been design, or it's evolved to be this way just because, well, they rather have the babies, or it's a lot easier to raise the babies when there's a lot of food available, because then the females can eat a lot more and then they can produce a lot of milk, and this way they can make sure that they have, or they're producing enough milk to raise the babies a lot quicker, because as you can imagine, it's pretty much touch and go with all the babies in the wild. They've got to be able to either keep up with the mothers or go at a certain steady pace just to make sure that they have the best chance at survival, because there are many things out there that are willing to eat them. So, funny enough, it's one of the reasons why male kudus tend to live less than the females, just because they do all of the fighting and the mating, so they spend a lot of energy during the time that there's less food. So, I'm not too sure if that was a very clever evolutionary idea, but it seems to work for them, because we have no shortage of kudu whatsoever. So, at this time of the year, we find a lot of the males trailing the females, or maybe they'll start fighting each other, but normally, because if you've ever seen a male kudu, they've got this beautiful spiral twisting horn. So a lot of the times they're not like some of the other animals where they'll go and they'll start clashing horns, because it can happen that the horns get tangled up. So, you know, they can't later get them untangled, and it's pretty much a 2-for-1 for any lion or leopard that comes around. So a lot of the times what they do is called a lateral display. So they'll stand next to each other like this, and they'll look at each other and they'll raise their hair and, you know, walk very stiff just to try and prove who's the biggest one of the two without having to actually fight. If, however, they are pretty much of the same size, then, you know, you'll get them fighting. But I've only seen 2 kudus once being very aggressive towards each other, and even then they were very careful of what was happening with the horns. It was quite a funny thing, and the same with Nyala, that are also in the same family as the kudu. I've only seen males properly fight once. They normally don't, prefer not to. They're quite the pacifist animal. I think it's also because it's spending so much energy and there's a potential of getting tangled up, so it's not really worth it for them, I would say. Also, there seems to be no shortage of females around here. We've found a few different herds. Yes, young kudus are born with their stripes already and with their very big ears. You see, they tend to live in very thick vegetation, and I think the youngsters stay hidden in the bushes for about maybe 5 weeks after they're born. So it's a very long time. So the stripes help them camouflage and just make sure that nothing sees them, or that they have a better chance at hiding away from leopards and lions, because even a young kudu, they're still small enough for a leopard, either a male or female, to be an easy prey for them. So they need pretty much all the help they can get, and they're also born, it's not like some of the other animals that, you know, they are born with very big ears and then they grow into their ears. Kudus, because they live in very thick vegetation, they need very big ears. So from a very small age, you'll have these 2 satellite dishes just pretty much going around, scanning everything and hearing everything around, because of the area where they live, they cannot always rely on their eyesight or on their sense of smell, which are both very good, but sometimes they just need a bit of that extra edge to be able to hear what's around them. And then it's part of the reason why leopards and lions try to be very, very quiet when they start stalking animals, and, you know, they go like this and they take their time just to make sure that nothing spots them. We've got quite a big flock of grey hornbills flying above us. I think they are all going away, but I think I've counted about maybe 7 of them. We can hear them calling. I wonder... So this is one of the hornbills that we missed yesterday on the drive. There comes the next one. And I don't know if you guys can hear beep, beep. It's almost the way they sound. Very pretty call. And they're not like the yellow-billed or the red-billed hornbill that go tuk 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 tuk. This is more like a bit of a whistle. And I think these ones are my favorites out of them all, because it almost seems like somebody put them in the washing machine. They're supposed to have all this color, but yet they're all gray. Seems like everything's happening on the main road right now. Our first impala of the day has been spotted further down the road. So let's see if maybe we can catch up with them, or with it. I think it was just one male. Maybe a lonely male that's been kicked out. Has no ladies to love. No, it's 2 males. 3. 4. Yay! Hello guys! Watch out! Tandy and Shadow are around here. Alright, while we warn the impala about the possible leopard around the area, let's see how Tayla's elephant search is going.
We are winning on the elephant search, I can tell you that right now. We've just popped here to Buffelshoek Dam, and there's some warthog. They're just crossing the road now, but they're just disappearing behind some shrubs, and those are not elephants, I promise you. But there's a couple of them just off to the right. There's the warthogs, and the Ellies are just in here behind all of these trees. So I'm hoping that they're going to come down to the dam and have a drink. I'm not sure if they've maybe had a drink somewhere else. We'll have to wait until they show themselves to see if we can see some wet feet and some wet trunks. But they're slowly coming here. There we go. And I think if we just sit right here, they'll eventually come out right on the open, and we'll be able to have the best view of them possible. Now, there's definitely an adult cow here with some of her offspring. It might just be a small little satellite party like what we saw just a moment ago with those other elephants. They could be at the front of the herd, they could be at the back of the herd, or they could just be a little family traveling all on their own. It's not really necessary to have massive herds just yet. We normally see the animals moving around in the bigger herds as soon as the drier seasons come through to look for food. So now they're sort of all spread out. But that's another thing that I'm really looking forward to, is not only the return of the buffalo, but the opportunity to potentially see big herds of elephants coming through again. And we've seen them every now and then. We've had a couple of herds with not necessarily one family, but about 60 elephants or so all meeting. There comes our first one. Hello, little one. Well, not so little. Not tiny like the elephant that was attempting to make itself look quite scary. But that, of course, didn't work with me. This is a slightly older elephant. It's probably just shy of about 5 years old, I would say, somewhere around there. And it can be quite difficult to age elephants. It does take a little bit of practice. And looking at elephants, looking at their condition, looking at the size of their mother, that will also help, because a lot of it has got to do with genetics. But typically at about 2 years old or so, you can just see the tips of their tusks poking out. And then I reckon from the other elephants that I can see, there's about 3 or 4 here. I would say that's probably, might even be a younger calf roaming around, or mom could have one inside of her still developing. I think let's maybe reshuffle slightly. Maybe go a little bit further around. The wind is just starting to pick up. I think I'm actually just going to pull off the side of the road, just ever so slightly, so we're still in the shade. And then if we park here, it will still give them room to come and walk down. There's plenty of space to access the dam. Hello, little boy. We've just been talking about you. There he is. He's beautiful, isn't he? Now, Jess, you're wondering if elephants ever trip over their trunks. It's funny that you ask that. When they get older, their trunks sort of stretch down to the length of the ground, but I don't know if you've ever noticed, a little elephant's trunk cannot touch the floor, with its head sort of being held in the regular position. And I think that that is very clever development, because a little elephant would most certainly step over its trunk. It does not have the control that this older calf has. You can see it's able to stretch it out quite easily and move it around, smell the things that it wants to smell. A little elephant that's less than a year is still trying to train all of those thousands of muscles that are in its trunk. So I think it's really good that they haven't got them too long, that they fall over their otherwise they'd fall over their feet more than they normally do. We've had many sightings of elephants, especially young elephants, just slipping down the side of the edge of the bank. You saw that one sighting where that precious little calf unfortunately lost its footing with Jamie and tumbled over, and I've seen similar things like that many times. Oh, there's more elephants. They're multiplying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can now see 7 elephants, and I think as they start moving this way, we're probably going to see a few more too. So a nice size herd. I'm just trying to see here. There doesn't seem to be any big bulls around. And maybe that's why they're so relaxed. They're not being bossed and pushed around. Now, Kathy, you were wondering. No, I've got the question's gone. It's disappeared out of my head. I had it, and I was going to ask it. That's so wonderful. Patty, not even Kathy. There we go, that's it. Right, let's try that again. Sorry, Patty. Patty, you're wondering if the elephants have names. No, they don't, unfortunately. Well, not any official names, that is. We really only give names to the predators, in particular the big cats. Just because Panthera, which is a carnivore project, not models them, but follows their movements very, very carefully. Where hyenas also have names. However, the elephants, there's just too many of them and they don't stay put. They can travel in a couple of days, they'll be here, and in a few days' time they could be in Zimbabwe if they really wanted to. So it's a bit hard to keep tabs. But in saying that, my favorite elephant in the entire world, his name is Daryl. It was a name given to him by some of my guests that I saw him every single day in the Southern Sands, and he's got the Snapchat sort of ghost shape cut out of his ear, or it also could look like a bell, depending which way you look at it. And so he's got this affectionate name, but it's not an official name. And a very famous herd, we've got two famous herds, Fang's herd, and she's a big matriarch, and her one tusk curves right back towards her belly, so it's quite easy to identify her. And then the short trunk female, who unfortunately most likely lost the tip of her trunk due to a snare, and now she doesn't have her whole trunk anymore. Oh, look, there are some little ones in that herd too. They're pushing each other. Okay, let me reposition once more. I'll do that for you, Senzo. Then we should get a better view of those two, because they're jumping on each other now. And I think they're going to come down to the water's edge. But they're feeding still. They're not in any hurry. So it might take them another 10, 15 minutes, maybe even a little bit longer to come out and go down and drink. But there's these little ones that I was telling you about. Don't run off now, and they are very, very funny. You can see that little one desperately trying to use its trunk, smelling the air. Aren't you so small? Oh, little one, you're so cute. Now this one just wants to play. Look, it's just nudging its friend. Now, Phyllis, you're wondering how old are they when their tusks come through? So normally when we can just see them, it's at about 2 years old or so. It also depends again on genetics, so some might come through a little bit faster, but that's sort of a guideline that we've all been taught as guides, and it's about right. It's about 2 years, maybe some a little bit younger, 1.5 years or so. So that's when you can normally start seeing them, but remember they are growing underneath folds of skin that conceal them for the first few years of their life. Come out and play away from that bush, please. There's all this open space. And I've got some very excited people who would like to see little elephants playing about. I think that's where the bones are. You know what? Once this little one goes behind the tree again, because I'm sure it will, I'm going to go over there. That's where, I don't know if you remember, we had the buffalo that died in Buffelshoek Dam, and then they pulled it out of the water just to stop contamination, because the buffalo were all very, very ill from the drought. And a rotting carcass in one of our few little seasonal pans would not be good, because it spoils the water. So they made the decision, and they did pull it out of the water, and they dragged it here. Let's quickly move a bit closer. And I wonder if they aren't playing with the bones. So let's go have a look, because they're quite curious, especially those little ones. Let's see if we can go a little bit closer. We just have to obviously read the elephant's reaction now as we start to make an approach. They weren't bothered by us at all. So as soon as we get a reaction, I don't want to even get a reaction out of them. That's the last thing that I want to do. Hello, big girl. We're coming to admire your beautiful babies. And I also want to show everyone how, look at the elephants are playing with the bones. Look how curious they are. That's so amazing. Now, of course, some of you are probably wondering, especially if you've only just started watching, if it's possible, can we watch the elephants as they just be quite curious around the bones? There's a story that I'd like to tell about this. Now, there's an old wives' tale of sort of elephant graveyards, and that sort of starts right back from the Lion King days, where Nala and Simba go and play or find themselves around an elephant graveyard. Now, what normally happens, elephants don't go to one spot to die, unfortunately, as their teeth start to wear down, because they've got 6 sets of molars, and it can be quite problematic, of course. Look how they're all surrounding those bones now, just picking them up, smelling them, very curious about them. And so basically what they did was they would go and feed along the river systems, drainage line, dams, where the vegetation is a lot softer. and it's easier for them to chew their food, and then eventually they'll end up dying in areas like that just from malnutrition, not getting enough sustenance. And what happens when a great big flood comes through or the rains come for the year? Those bones end up being washed into and around the dams or into a drainage system and then further down and into a river. And it often happens where you have more than one elephant dying in that area, but even one elephant would be enough to create an entire graveyard filled with bones. And of course, as you can see here, elephants that pass through are quite curious of this, and they investigate with their trunks, just exactly like what they're doing now. But this is not from an elephant, this is from a buffalo. But they're very curious, they want to have a look. Now, Jenny, you're wondering if elephants can get any diseases from the bones like anthrax? Most certainly. And that's why it is so important out here not to pick up any bones, because you don't know. And the spores can last for many, many, many years in the soil. So, you just got to be very, very careful. So they can. But I don't think there's been a case of anthrax in this area for a very long time. I think well over 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. So they'll just play with it and have a look. So they're fairly safe. I think we've actually collected some bones. Look at that little one playing with a rib bone on the left by the tree. Look, it looks like it's got a big tusk now, don't you think? It's probably going, that's what I'm going to look like one day. I'm going to have 2 sets of these. Don't eat that. Take that out of your mouth right now. That's what my mother would be saying. And she'd be waving her finger at me, telling me to, because I used to do that when I was little, and I suppose sometimes I still do it now. I put all sorts of things we find in the bush, I put them in my mouth to see if they're edible or not. You're going to take that with you. That is so funny. That's really cool to see. So, now not only do the scavengers scatter the bones, like the hyenas, the jackals, and all those critters, you can see that the elephants are also responsible for moving bones around, because they were all in a very neat pile over there. Not even one hyena came to feed off of that carcass. We sort of monitored it until it completely deteriorated, until not even the carrion beetles were hanging around anymore. We did see some marabou storks and woolly neck storks around here, but other than that, and that was really it. But you're going the wrong way now, elephants. Go back towards the dam. Go and have a swim. Isn't that just a precious little thing? It is lovely, don't you think? Who are you? A little boy? You look like a little... No, you're a little girl. You're a little girl. Being ushered back now. Now, a very good question from Michael this afternoon. Michael's question is, would the elephants have a negative reaction to bones if they were of a predator, so lion or something like that? No, not necessarily. I think that their reaction would be the same. I'm sure that they would get the scent of that predator, and these elephants do know lions and leopards and hyenas, and they're able to identify them not only by sight but also by sound and by scent too. And so no, I don't think so. I think they'd be quite curious. I'm sure that they would know that they're dead, and they wouldn't go up to a lion and sort of just play with it. So only just because of the bones. And once again, they're just very curious creatures. They always pick up and investigate. They put things in their mouths, especially the little elephants, as we just saw. Now look at that little starling that's just in front of, or just behind the bones, that Birchall starling. You see, as the elephants moved out, it sort of flew straight in. Now, I don't think it wanted to get stepped on by any of the elephants, but I think there are a couple of insects that were being disturbed in the grass over there. But what a great sighting. Now, I'm going to try and hang around here. They've gone into the very thick vegetation now. Hopefully, they're going to move back around and then come down to Buffelshoek Dam and have a swim and stir those hippos that are in there. But let's go across now to Ellie and see if she's found any other spotted animals.
No, I did not manage to find any spots. Girls are just being a bit naughty, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna swap our luck around using one of the trees around here. It's not a lucky tree, but it's the tree of forgetfulness. So I'm gonna go put a branch in my pocket. It's actually called the false marula, just so that we forget that we were looking for them, because I feel if you're very intent on looking for something and your mind is always on it, then you won't find it and you won't find what you're looking for, like everything in life. So I don't think I chose the best way to go around, but I'll get there. Hello, little tree. I'm just gonna grab one of your tiny twigs. tiny twig. Apparently this does the trick. According to the Shangang culture, this particular tree here, and I think in Zimbabwe they also regard it as the tree of forgetfulness. So a little twig will not only make me invisible and everyone in the car, but it'll just make us forget what it is that we've been looking for. A lot of the people around this area believe that there's actually a good spirit that lives inside of the tree. So this tree is particularly important in the Zulu culture and the Shangans when they're trying to make peace with enemies. So if there are two tribes, two people, two men that are enemies against each other and they want to make peace, they normally have a ceremony underneath one of these trees so that they'll forget what it is that they were fighting about and they can move on and then just carry on with life and just take it a lot easier. So I think now that we are armed with a little twig, we'll be able to get there and we'll be very happy. Funny enough, I used to, one of the guys that I trained with, he's actually now a guide, but he is one of the most phenomenal trackers I have ever met. He always used to laugh and he used to say that whenever he wanted to go home quickly and then if he had to speed and, you know, go over the speed limit, then he would put a little twig in his pocket or throw it at the cubs as they went along so that they would forget that they saw him. I don't know if it ever worked, but I don't think I ever saw him paying for any speeding fines, which is quite an achievement, actually, considering. Alright, let me plug myself in so that I can hear everything again. And off we go. Forgotten everything we've done until now. Good feeling. Brand new week ahead. And we'll see what there is up ahead. I think we might go check Chitwa Dam. That sounds like a good plan for us, just to see if maybe we can find that crocodile. I don't know why I've been dreaming with crocodiles lately, so I think maybe it's a sign that I should go look for one. Maybe there's something good waiting for us wherever there is one. Although crocodiles are quite scary creatures, so I'm not too sure why I'm dreaming what I'm dreaming. I often have very strange dreams relating to animals. Where I used to work in the southern Sabi-san, there's a very famous lioness, she is my ultimate favorite lioness because she is very clever. Her name is Floppy Ear, if you've heard about her. And I always had dreams that she would eat me. I don't know why. So it was for a while that I would always go tracking and, you know, just hoping to find her. And I think it was a good way of my subconscious world. Number one, being terrified that she was actually going to eat me at one point. And number two, that I always had to be careful when going tracking for her. Just so, well, that I wouldn't die. But luckily I'm here. So everything turned out just fine. So maybe this is just a sign that, I don't know, I need to go close to the crocodiles. What do you guys think? Should we look for crocodiles? I think Boris and Vlad haven't been seen for a while. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get lucky with them. I hope we will. What's around here? This is a very pretty area. Like Tayla mentioned, I'm busy learning all of the roads on Djuma and everywhere else. So it's always a good idea to come exploring and see what else we can find. I think we are on Drakensberg Road right now, which is quite pretty, and it's called this way because if we were to look to the west, especially during sunset like we did yesterday, then you see that beautiful silhouette of the mountains away in the distance. So I'm sure that's why it got the name. Very appropriate name. Now we've got a hornbill around here. Let's see if it'll stay there for long enough. Hello? Have you come to say hello, Hornbill? He has, although he's very shy, and I think for a moment he was pretending he was actually part of the tree. Are you going to let us come closer to you? So this is a yellow-billed hornbill, flying away. I believe maybe he's flying away in the direction of Tayla, so let's take it as a sign and let's see what Tayla is up to. Maybe she's found a laughing animal.
We're still at the dam and we're waiting so patiently for these elephants to come down, but now I'm not so certain they are, because just at the back you can see some dust flying, and for the first time it's actually not coming from the back of my vehicle. It is coming from the elephants. So I don't know if they're going to come over and have a sip of water. Oh my gosh, Senzo, look at the hippopotamus! What are you doing, Hippo? That's disgusting. He literally just covered himself in feces. Wasn't that attractive? Now, wouldn't you? Oh, well, not wouldn't you? Aren't you glad that the human race doesn't do things like that? Now, that hippo, of course, is the big male. He's the one of the resident male, who is the resident male in the dam, and that was a territorial marking that he was doing there. Normally, hippo males will actually meet on a common boundary like that and sort of stare at each other, open their mouths, size each other up, and then defecate and swish their tails at the edge of the water. But he's got no one here. I don't know why you even really bothered with doing that. Maybe you feel threatened by us. Do you think that I'm a hippopotamus? If so, I'd be the world's largest hippopotamus because this car is so big. But are elephants now also? I'm just looking over my shoulder as you look at the beautiful hippo. They have now disappeared. I think they've gone further and further into the thicket. Maybe they're going to drink somewhere else. Yes, I see them going down into the drainage now. Well, that's a pity. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to start making our way down towards Sydney's dam site. Let's go over there. Bye, elephants. Bye, hippopotamus. You're going to see so many hippos, hopefully with Ellie, and hopefully a crocodile too. You know what we were reminiscing about last night was the crocodog. You remember that when I accidentally called a crocodile a crocodog and then drew a horrible picture? So we were looking at that horrible picture yesterday, which is on Jerry's chalkboard wall as well. That one has got stick people fighting it off though with spears and a shield. I got a little bit more creative. Right, so we'll go down this way and we're going to do a couple of loops around sort of more western Gowrie. And the reason why we're going to go and do that is because apparently Tingana, I can't even remember if I've told you this already, but Tingana was spotted at One Eye Pan on Simbambili. He's coming north. So hopefully by this evening he would have arrived north, he would have let us know that he is here, and then we'll catch him, or we're going to catch one of the Nguhuma lionesses or the entire pride. And then I've just got to get it all out, otherwise I'm going to forget to tell you the 3 Birmingham boys. One is on Torchwood, I presume with the Styx Pride, because that's where the Styx Pride were last seen. They made a kill of some sort this morning. And then there are 2 Birmingham boys at Chicana Dam, which that is in Bivelshoek, so not too far from here. So maybe we're going to get some action tonight. We'll keep an ear out as well. We'll make sure that we listen as it starts to get a bit cooler and see if either the lionesses don't start calling, and then that will hopefully attract the Birmingham boys to come back this way. So that's sort of the plan for this afternoon. But I'm happy that we've got to see a number of different elephants and lots of little baby elephants too. And I don't think, to be honest, that it's going to be the end of our elephant sightings. I have a suspicion that we're going to have an elephant-filled day. Senzo, I can't even remember, what is your favorite animal? Lions. Okay, so we're going to have to put in a concerted effort then to find lions for Senzo, seen as though it's his favorite animal. And what a way to then be welcomed back to work. To be greeted by Africa's largest cat. I think nobody would be sad coming back to work and seeing a lion. Would be nice. Right, I'm just going to put the radio back on now. We'll turn my Game Drive radio off for a while and see if I know that Taxon was going to those Birmingham boys. So he said he was going to keep me updated if they do start moving, but it doesn't sound like they have started moving just yet. Seems as though they're still fast asleep underneath a jackalberry, which is a good tree that provides lots of shade. You know what, Senzo, the other thing that we need to do is we need to start looking for a silver cluster leaf, because I want to add another bangle to my wrist. I'm going to see how many trees I can make bracelets out of. How does that sound, Senzo? Do you also want one? Senzo also wants one, so we'll try. I'm not very good at plaiting and weaving and stuff like that, but we shall give it a bash. Now, Alice, we're coming to a gremlin spot here, and I think I can see a few of them planning their attack just in the corner here. We're just about to go through the little Gowrie dip, and I know that just deep down in those corners, you can't see enough, but just sort of around the corner, they sit and wait, ready to ambush you. Right, so I think I'm going to send you across to Ellie now. I know she's still on her way to Chitwa Dam, but she shouldn't be too far off.
We are not too far, but not quite there yet. So just carry along for the drive while we always nice, I find, seeing big water spaces in front of lodges, and there's just something very special about them. Lots of things in there. I'm sure, hopefully we'll see a fish eagle. I'm hoping again for some crocodiles, some hippos, maybe other different bird species. Who knows? Pretty much anything could be at the dam. Maybe even a lion or a leopard or a pangolin.
Oh, hello, you're back with me again. Hi. I was just actually asking Senzo right now. You may have heard me saying, Senzo, can you plait? Can you braid? Because I'm terrible at it. And I was saying, well, Senzo's got daughters, so he must be able to. Now we've got a tree here, a silver cluster leaf tree, but we need to find a young one because the hard bark doesn't work as well. Just going here. I'm going to be sneaky. I'm going to pull off of the road, but I think I have to actually go into low range to get over the... Wendy! Go into gear. She has a cheeky habit, unfortunately, of jumping out of gear every now and then. And she always does it when I'm around other people too. It's like she likes to make me look silly, like I don't know how to use the car. Okay, so this is the type of silver cluster leaf I'm looking for. I'm going to stand right here next to the car. I'm going to jump out very quickly. So, Senzo, you can show them that big tree just here. That's a big silver cluster leaf, but unfortunately, that one is no good for us because the bark is already too hard. So, we've made bagels often. We make them all the time. Some of us are better than the others, and I can tell you right now, don't get too excited because my bagel is not going to be very good. But we're gonna give it a back. I haven't made one for a while. Now we need to look for small bits to try and find the perfect one. And while they're young like this, they're quite easily to split open. So this is what we need. I'll try and get some nice big bits, and then I might split it in half again. Great, that's one piece. The elephants can have that bit. Not that they really like to eat the silver cluster leaves, but you can't be picky in winter. And then we'll take this one. This should be a goodie. And just pull some more. No, that's too short. That was not a good one. Tayla, you should know better. Okay, let's give it a bash here. So one of the things that elephants obviously do is they're very good at keeping plants quite small. They dwarf them. Cheetahs are contributing to that factor right now as I strip the bark off of this very young silver cluster leaf. Right, oh, this is fantastic. I think we might actually have enough now. Let me pull it all off. Can you hear that? Some very unhappy Franklins behind us. I'm going to plug my earpiece back in so I can hear anything. Again, now the trick undo this is... Oh wait, let me put that on my seat because I know I'm going to drive away and then lose my multi-tool. You can see we've got all these straps of bark over here. But now, it actually takes a bit of time, so we might make this over a couple of segments because I want to do it properly. I want to make sure that it lasts for a very long time. So I think it's quite nice if you can try and get that outer layer off. It's not particularly hard. It's quite soft because it is young. So pull that off. It just helps you, of course, be able to plait and braid a little bit easier. It was quite easy to do with the baobab, which is the one that I have over here. But I keep hooking it on things, and now you can see it's starting to come undone. So I think I'm going to have to get some more baobab rope and try and make a proper one. And the best thing to do as well is if you do have a lot of time is to also dip it in water. So just by adding a little bit of water you can soften it and it can become... I'm just squashing an insect that was biting me, and then by doing that it also becomes softer and a lot easier. Now we need to try and get it. It's too small. That's alright. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to keep on pulling apart and sort of getting these bits of bark to the right length to make Senzo and I, and maybe even Ellies and Sebastian. We'll see how much we have. A little bracelet to remember them, to remember me by. I'm going to send you across now all the way to Kenya with Brent, who is admiring the scenery.
There's pandemonium everywhere, and we are, without using words that get me in trouble, we're a very, very long way from home. Now, if I can try to show you where home is, and we're also being surrounded by rain at the moment. As you can see, there's rain coming in from the south there. Now, home is, let me work out where we are. Okay, Dave, let's come back here. Home is the top of that hill that's very faint in the distance there. But the distance to home is not what is worrying us. What is worrying us, Dave? That is worrying us, because that is on the road home. It is a very big storm, and it is worrying us slightly. But we're between the Talek and Ololorok River at the moment. That sort of dark, damp area. Oh, sorry, you can see down there. That's the Olorok River Valley, and we're going to speed off shortly because we need to get across those an area called Double Crossing quite quickly, because if we don't, those rivers come down and flood, and Jamie, Dave and myself will be sleeping in the car, and there's not that much space for three of us. Maybe two, but not three. So we're going to be heading off, but I was just trying to it's just the skies and stuff here are just so magnificent, and hopefully, what?
I just want to get the shot behind.
Oh, Dave wants to have a look behind.
It's so pretty.
Oh, it's so pretty. Yes, it's so pretty, Dave. Well done. Well, hopefully we'll be able to get through the storm, and on the other side of the storm we'll be able to power up again. But while we dash for the safety, or actually dash into the eye of the storm, we're going to send you back to Tayla, who's still on Djuma.
Brent, you've been gone for so long you don't even remember who's Tayla and who's Ellie. Shame on you. I know we're both blonde. How dare you? Maybe I got confused because he's also blonde. We are actually just making our way all the way to Chitwa Dam because we want to see lots of water. And we are not too far from it. We have managed to see some different antelope, so not our usual kudu, but some water bug. We have just been pushing onto the distance, maybe some nyala not too far from here. Where did the water bug go? I can promise you that I'm not seeing things. It was here a moment ago, but clearly not anymore. We're not too far from the water, so I'm sure we'll be able to see some ones around. Let's see, we're not too far from Chitwa Dam, so I have hope we will manage to get there before the gremlins get to us. I think
Hello everybody, welcome back again to my jewelry store. I'm still standing out of the car trying to take all the bark off of the silver cluster leaf, and we're getting there. We're slowly but surely getting there. I'm doing an interesting technique, and I apologize if you see the state of my hands. If you are watching me, they are filthy now, from cleaning the car to circling tracks and then now stripping the bark. I have bush hands, so they are very filthy. My nails are no longer beautifully and cleaned like I started off this afternoon on safari. Okay, so we've got 3 strands here. I can't help myself. You see, I have to make sure that they are all the same and all the bark is off. It's a little bit of a pain sometimes, being so much of a perfectionist. It really takes up a lot of unnecessary time in my life. Right, okay. Now, I don't even know how to plait very well, but we'll give it a go, even considering I'm a horse rider and I cannot plait. So what we're going to do, we're going to try and make Senzor's one first. So I want to twist it just a little bit. Then we're going to go for the twist look. That's what we're going to do, Senzor. We're going to do the twist look for you. Now, I wish we could add like little beads and things to it. Imagine being able to hollow out a marula. Though a marula would be slightly unpleasant, I think, because they're quite big and bulky. But imagine adding a little charm to that. I think it would be quite nice. Okay, so we've got a knot at the end. I'm actually impressed with my knot. I just stop there. Now I need your help, Senzor. Now you have to hold that very tightly for me. So Senzor's going to keep it pulled. Now look at him. Can you believe this? This is just me to show you how Senzor can multitask. Okay, just like that. That's perfect. I just want to twist it. Senzor is now operating the camera with one hand. How unbelievable is that? Can you pull a little bit tighter at your side? Yeah, perfect. Now I'm not going to plait it this time, like I said, because I'm not very good at plaiting. So I'm just going to twist, twist, twist. And then I'm hopefully perfect. Thank you. I'm going to put it in my mouth now. I can do this. See, I told you, I put everything in my mouth. It's terrible. Okay, that's tight enough now. Now, just neaten up the edges slightly. Let's cut it over here so I don't cut my fingers, because that's something that I would hate to do live, is injure myself. Senzo, are you ready for your bangle? I'm going to stand up here. Is that the arm you're choosing? Okay. Your kids are going to be so jealous. We're actually going to have to make them some, aren't we? To take back. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to make it very tight. Can I make it loose so it moves around? Let's do that. Now, James, you're wondering, as I try and tie this knot, which is actually proving to be quite difficult, how many other tree species can you use for plaiting? There are so many different types. I think silver cluster leaf is probably my favorite out here. I reckon if you got a young bush swallow, you might be able to use that. Maybe round leaf teak, but we'll have to, of course, test it. Some of the acacias are great too, but I think the best one is probably the bark from the baobab tree. I'm just going to neaten it slightly. Okay, there we go. What we'll do when we get back, I'll clip it. But there we go. Senzo has got his bracelet, and I shall make my one a little bit later. So I've got my strips. I'm going to keep them here. You just get unplugged and sit back in again, and then we will carry on with those as we go about our day. I won't bore you with making another one. Right, multi-tool in the pocket, in this pouch, so it doesn't get lost in the bush. I seem to have lost many Leathermans in the bush. Okay, now we need to reverse. Let's go. Do you like your new bangle?
Thank you.
It's a